What's shaking, y'all? Your boy Mystic Jinn and T-Noble over there.
How y'all doing?
We bringing it back. This is going to be getting your Wednesday episode. And in really on a twist of fate, we're actually doing this the night before. It's something we try to avoid, but the beauty of that is you get the most current information that we have. That information mostly revolves around two video games. And actually, did you catch the first episode of Diablo?
I haven't watched it yet.
I did, and I'll go into that in a bit. Let's well, where do you want to start? You want to start with Diablo, or you want to start with Dragon? Because we've pretty much been pretty balls deep in both of those over the past week.
I guess we can start with Diablo.
Oh, that was weird.
Your image froze.
Yes, it did. Okay, give me a second. Hot damn. I don't even know what that was. And that actually is. Well, no, for some reason, my second screen isn't up and operating. So, there we go. I turned it on and turned it back off. You know how the tech guy, what the bloody hell? Okay, that's a real trip. I'll figure that out a bit later. It's gonna hurt the hell out of me, but so where were we starting?
Diablo.
All right. New season, expansion, new character, lots of good stuff to talk about. Honestly, I know how you feel about the character, but I fucking love that thing.
I mean, it's a cool concept. You know, I really like the centipede, skill tree, but I mean, when you really think about where things could really go, I mean, it's not that impressive. None of them are really that impressive.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I do have the advantage just because the way it does work, it fits one of my playstyles very, very well, and there's certain mechanics for all of that make it really exquisite to do. But I do think it's supposed to be kind of a hybrid build between two or more of the spirits. And the only reason I don't use the quill defense is because the quill doesn't have a defense. For that to have a skill in that defensive area, I had to pick another one. And I think I went with the Jaguar. No, I went with the Stone. The secondary ability thing, I went with the Jaguar. Even though I don't have a Jaguar ability.
Doing Eagle and Centipede.
I could say it's Eagle and Gorilla, but it's only having one Gorilla skill really be equal. It's like a splash of Gorilla.
Right.
Like a couple of hairs. Oh, the Gorilla. But no, honestly, I do like the story. I do actually, my favorite thing is I can, from the jump, start in tier 4. That's all I was really asking for. All the other ones let me start at tier 4.
Yeah, Penitent, I mean, it definitely makes you feel like it's a challenge, although you haven't necessarily had this issue, but I am getting squat for gear drops. I don't know what's going on.
The Diablo gods love me. That's what it is.
I'm not getting much in the ways of equipment, useful or not. Everything I currently have on right now is 6 or so levels below me, with the exception of one piece of equipment. But, I'm not finding hardly any legendary gear. I don't have any affixes really unlocked yet that are useful. So that might be a big part of my issue right now. But
possibly, because I haven't even hit max level cap to hit Paragon, and I've hit in that part where I get in every season where I just start to become godlike, and I start to the only reason I haven't necessarily okay, it's not completely true. Since the Sparking Zero dropped, I've been balls deep in that. It's not my fault that they line these two up right next to each other. That was a bad idea on Diablo's part.
Right, they should have spaced it out like a month or so.
Because Diablo, I see why Diablo wanted the October window. Diablo, Halloween, spooky, Vessels of Hatred. The name kind of flows with it. But the one thing I'm not really with about it is at that point it split my focus. Gonna have to get back into Diablo this week because I do want to experiment with the Paragon system. I'm not quite sure because I'm not quite sure how I feel about a universal board for my entire crew. You know?
I haven't looked. I don't know much about the Paragon system yet, so.
Well, from what I read on when the season starts, it gives you the new shit and all that jazz. It explained the Paragon, the way it seems to me, the Paragon is your board goes to all the characters. Any character you have, that's their board.
You mean all of the?
Okay, so for instance, once I hit Paragon with this spirit board, say I hit 50 levels in the Paragon, I start with my Druid. My Druid is going to, once it hits levels, it's going to start with the 50 in the Paragon. It's...
Yeah, I get what you
mean. The way I am comprehending what the way they worded it to me. I may be taking that wrong. I might be in the wrong. It has been known to happen every now. It's rare, but every now and then it does happen. I can admit that. 85%. I'll be a humble Jinn today. 85%. But yeah, Diablo was I actually think they've done a lot to improve. And this is the thing about games that are online, that are community based, that I think everybody really need to get through their heads. There's only so much you can anticipate before the launch of something. Take this podcast for instance. A lot of it's been in development for years and years, and my perfectionist eye was delaying stuff. And I was you know what? I've done all I could in the planning area. I need to launch to see where the weaknesses are, what needs improvement, and such. The same thing goes for games. Some concepts that certain people might think are awesome at the first, or they might be, but they need to be fleshed out a bit better. You know? Payday to me wasn't a bad game at launch. Was I kind of disappointed it only had X amount of heist? Yes, but I also knew they're gonna be developing new stuff, and on top of that, all the problems that there were with the game towards the beginning, they were actively aware of and actively trying to fucking fix. Diablo, I do give Diablo credit for one thing. They anticipated the launch traffic, and that's why they did their open beta a couple of weeks before launch called Server Slam. That, hey, we're going to see what the max potential player thing looks like, because at that point, free, everybody wants to try that. Even the people that are, at that point, it gave everybody a taste of the game to be, for those that weren't already committed to getting, and, the purists that wanted to know, hey, is this going to be a good story? Is the gameplay going to do right by me? Is it going to be my type of game? And I think I think that was a smart move by them, and the game's been doing well as far as I know. I haven't heard too many negative things about it. Generally, most negative stuff I hear is about people whining about certain skills being OP and then ruining it for everybody else. Whiner babies.
I mean, if it was like like when it comes to PvP, situations like that, I could understand if it's an issue. But if everybody's running together, killing the same shit and not affecting each other, like, who cares?
Well, see, I think an easy fix to stuff like this would be more of have you know how like a lot of computer MMORPGs and such have you pick which server you want to play in, kind of thing.
Yeah.
There you go. We pick which server you want to play in. Like, if you want to play with your OP skills, you're not allowed in these other servers. This is for the people that want to, like, because I can see where it kills the fun for somebody that's trying to enjoy a world boss battle and someone comes and just one shots it. Like me, I'm not going to complain too much because I'm going to get that loot anyway.
Yeah, like that's always convenient for me. It's like, yeah, I understand it's a challenge. That's cool, but I want the loot so I can move on and go about my business.
Yeah, but like then again, like I don't mind so much because like I kind of walk that fine line in Diablo where I do an ungodly amount of damage over a space of area, not so much as a concentrated like. I don't build characters that like my characters will never be able to one shot a world boss. However, I can control everything in the surrounding fucking area. Like, and I can kill, like, I might not be able to one shot it, but nothing lives through my lightning fields longer than like 2-3 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, and see, that's why I like the Sportborn. I get to keep my lightning, which is like it resonates with the Sith in me. Like, yes, feel my hatred. Like, it's a, like I like lightning skills. They're like in my preferred skills of video games. Like if I can shock the shit up, like mainly because generally lightning comes with shock damage and stun, and it like I like my victims in video games to be at my mercy. You never know, like there's always those cheeky bastards that, like you need to put in their place and just like nah you can't move. Gotta treat them like Lord Birdman with Tannis, like back to the gods of light. Nah, out of here with that shit. Like, fuck you, fuck your gods. I fucked your girl too. That happens to be y'all's sister. Like
craziness. That's all that is, craziness.
Yeah, like that. The Dragonlance stories were pretty fucking wild, actually. Like, great series for anybody that hasn't read any of the Dragonlance series. I like to do the season, like, I think the first book of that trilogy is like the Dragons of the Autumn's Fall or some shit like that. Like, actually, that's the one, like, if I'm remembering correctly, that's the one that animated movie is specifically based off of. Where that a specific scene where he bitch smacks Tannis comes from. Like, I had always envisioned that like reading the books, and like then I got to see it animated, and I was just like, oh my god, this is better than anything I had pictured. Because well, like they had the blindness on Tannis with his eyes going like, oh, like so it made it look even better when he got just bitch smacked with a mace, just like get out here with that. Like I don't need no help, Lord Birdman. Fuck the gods of light. I mean, he got fucked later on, but like
that in that moment, he was silly badass.
In that moment, like that's like the cold, like one of the coldest moments in any animated movie that I have seen, based off of like a novel.
Gets smacked him with a mace in the face mid sentence, but the gods of light smack.
Like after blinding the entire party, mind you. Like these guys are wandering around blind, like, oh, like you gotta admire their moxie though. They were up against it; they couldn't even see, and like, blind. I guess that's why they call it blind faith.
Right.
Hey, I don't like. They're clearly not helping me at this particular moment, but I know they got my back. And like we said, he did get his comeuppance, and like they all kind of walked away from that mostly unscathed. But point B, y'all should check that shit out. Even if you don't check out the books, look up the Dragonlance animated movie. Do yourself a favor. You'll thank us for it. Now back to Diablo.
Yeah. Y'all need to fix the loot, Blizzard. Like, come on now.
Lizard?
I was saying Blizzard needs to fix the loot.
I was like, there's a loot lizard now? I thought it was a goblin.
Treasure goblins and loot lizards.
Blizzard, I don't know what he's blaspheming about. Y'all done right by me. Mystic Jinn has no problems with you.
Maybe not, but apparently me and Miss, Mom of Mystic Jinn is having the same problem here.
Yeah, but I tell all of y'all, I'm God kissed. Like the gaming gods love me, and we'll get into that into DBZ too. I am blessed and like by loot gods. Except no, I'll have to point out, because I think you were actually, did you play Warframe with us at all at any point in time? Okay, I'll point out the one time that the loot gods forsook me. In Warframe, my favorite Warframe is Equinox. Like, I wanted it because it was a duality. It was night and day. Like, I can switch between modes. I have 2 different attack sets. To get this, you had to run story missions, and you had to build 2 different Warframes to get it, so to speak. I played that you need, and for everything you needed, let's say 10 parts, right? I had to put I got the first 9 pretty much right away. That last motherfucker, I played that fucking map that drops that piece. I swear to God, at least 50 fucking times before I got it. Do you know how fucking irritating that was for me? Like, I had everything I needed for what I wanted, and then...
Yeah, RNG is a pain.
Generally not a problem I have.
RNG just doesn't always come through for you.
For me, it normally does. I try not to rock the boat. I come out ahead more often than I come out behind in these equations. Mind you, I also do, my early gameplay for Diablo is like this one, yeah, I did do a bit of the new story, but I still defaulted to my Legion, World Boss, and now the Realm Walker hunting. Because, well, those places generally, I know that I'm guaranteed X amount of shit from the Legion and the World Bosses. And the Realm Walker, I wasn't sure what I was getting, but, I wanted to find out, and then, I learned that it was good, so I did it more. So, I technically, I guess, I kind of gained the rate drop because I go for stuff that I know is specifically set to drop X amount of quality shit.
Yeah.
To the point that generally by the time I get to certain parts of the story, rewards that I get from there just don't mean shit to me. I'm like, some salvage. Diablo and actually, since we're going to talk a show on when we get to DBZ, we had the technical errors before I could really get into the robbery that we fans were robbed of by shenanigans involving Netflix and Blizzard. Now, I don't know all the complete details. I really don't give a fuck. That's big business shit. And we're just small, humble businessmen ourselves. But there was some shenanigans and bad blood. Now there's bad blood between them. And they were set to make something, I don't know whether it was movies or shows involving Diablo and Overwatch and StarCraft, is it?
Warcraft? Was it StarCraft?
It might have been. It could have been Warcraft, but I think the article said StarCraft. You know what? I sent that to you a couple of weeks ago. I'll check right now. So, oh, shit. I just saw when somebody was packing some smoke before Sparking Zero dropped.
How about me?
Yep.
I stand by it, whatever. I don't even know what I said at this point.
It was the you clown after handing your bro back-to-back L's in Sparking Zero. And my response to you was, you just foretold your future, and you said we shall see. And what happened, bro?
It's gone back and forth.
Now it's gone back and forth. That first night, like, you took like 5-6 L's in a row, like in both gaming sessions.
Yeah, well, this last gaming session you took, what was it, like 3, 4?
Something like that. But I didn't send messages talking smoke. Now, did I? Like, I didn't sit here and be like, oh, this is like bam. Okay, technically I did talk the smoke. Like, you sent it to me, and I was just like, man, that's your future. And but I did find it. It is Blizzard reportedly. This is from IGN. If y'all want to check this out, Blizzard reportedly had StarCraft, Overwatch, and Diablo adaptations in the works, but then it sued Netflix. Is like literally what the image said.
Everybody's suing everybody nowadays.
Well, from what I read, like I would have been kind of pissed too. Like, but like I feel like at that point you could have got a better deal on the, like, I wouldn't have sued. I would have been like, look guys, we can get into lawsuits or some bullshit like that, or we can make some money. Now you're gonna give us a break on some of this deal. Like, a lot of this deal's leaning in our favor because you fucked us. You know how you fucked us. We don't need to go out into the courts and talk about that. Let's handle this like savvy businessmen, and let's make some fucking money off this.
Yeah, well, I don't know that too many people know how to do that anymore.
True. But too many people let feelings get in the way of money. I can't do that. It irks me. Well, no, I can't do that anymore. Like, I've done it before, and I've gone from doing good to not doing good. I don't like that. Like, there's got to be a certain level of, you know, like, when it comes to business, business is business. Like, that's, like, when I have that mentality, everything was golden. Like, even when I had to fire, like, half the cast at the haunted house that year, no sweat off my back, I was still doing good.
Yeah.
Like, they were fucking with my money. You know what happened? They had to go. And, like, I even told them, like, I have nothing against y'all personally, but, like, on a business level, like, y'all don't know how to keep y'all's mouth shut and mind your business and just fucking make your money. Like, y'all are getting in the boss's marriage, and, like, that's none of your business in the fucking first place. Like, these people were trying to, like, oh, husband side, wife side, like, no, I'm on this haunted houses side. That's, like, I told y'all all that from the get-go, and, like, anybody that's, like, I have fired so many people, and, like, there's a handful of them that were really, like, they were bummed about it, but they didn't take it. They understood, like, hey, man, you told me. Like, you had warned me if I keep fucking up, like, if I stepped out of line in these certain ways, because I wasn't a monster. Like, wouldn't fire anybody for absolute, like, honestly, I was a very lenient boss.
Yeah.
Like, I was a generous god when I was a god. I was humble, and honestly, I tried to cover for people too, but, like, when, like, you get caught doing stupid shit by my boss, I can't protect you.
Yeah, that's true.
You fired me? No, they fired you. I just have to deliver the message. Like, shit, like, I told y'all, like, there's very few things you can do to get really fired in the haunt or be put in a position where I can't keep you from getting fired.
Yeah.
Like, there's, like, literally, like, be in the cast room when you're not supposed to for no damn reason. Smoking in the haunt. Caught with, like, an open container of actual alcohol in the haunt. If you had it in, like, a 7-Eleven cup, I didn't give a fuck.
Just couldn't be obvious.
Yeah, like, just cover up your shit. damn. Like, literally, I'm like the chillest person to work for. As long as you do your job, I don't give a fuck. Like, that's all I ask when I work with people, do your fucking job. Like, we all do our part. We can all have a lot of fun doing whatever we do. Like, if I'm, like, that's my mindset when I work. I don't think work should be boring or trivial or tedious. Right. There should be some levity to it. There should be, you need to instill a sense of enjoyment in your employees. And I tried to do that. Like, I even threw quite a few ragers. I threw them at the frat house. Good times. Good times.
Yes, but going back to Sparking Zero, seems like there's some issues with the controls occasionally. It's like you're trying to do a command like throw your ultimate blast, and then it's not accepting the command, and it's like you're pressing the button over and over, because it's the R2 and then circle if you're in the sparking mode.
I'm starting to think I figured something out about that, though.
What?
Because I'm not saying it's all the time, but sometimes I think, for me, I get worked up and I pull the trigger, but I don't all the way I don't have it down before I press the corresponding button. So when the R2 comes down, it's trying to do, it just goes into, it's still doing the combo that I was working on, rather than acknowledging that I pressed R2 because I hit the button before I hit R2. I got overexcited in certain instances for me. I'm not sure if that's happened, because in the heat of these battles, it's hard to pay attention to, what you're doing all the time. Sometimes I hit the charge button and I'm trying to actually block or vanish, and I get a fist in my face. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why am I charging? But I think for Sparking Zero, we should continue with giving them the veggies, the shit that we don't like about the game. Which honestly, there's not really a whole lot.
Well, the rush blast attacks, like the ones that start with where they dash at you and it has to connect to do an attack.
Yeah,
they need to fix that. Like in the old Tenkaichi games, it wasn't a problem. You had some of them to where it just went in a straight line, and if you missed, you missed. But a lot of them had it to where you wasn't escaping it unless you did a vanishing step or one of the
or you did a real hard you had to do some real crazy evasion, flying shit to really get away from it. Right. Or in my case, they fucking took something away from Brawly. You remember the gigantic hammer actually used to counter all rushes. It doesn't anymore.
Doesn't? Damn.
They fucking with my characters, bro. They fucking with my characters. But you're right.
So in Sparking Zero, it's like if you don't hit them head on, it's like you fly right past them, or and it's a problem because a lot of the good characters have a rush blast or whatever, and it's pretty useless whenever you use it, and then you just completely miss. Not even because they dodged it, just because you flat out missed.
Yeah,
and it would just be just barely too.
There's actually one character that does not have that problem, Mr. Satan, because his rush is the present thing, and you know how he trips before it. So I discovered this while I was doing one of the bonus things, and I was 3 feet away from them, and I was like, oh shit, I missed, and then the animation triggered. I'm like, what? But yeah, that's an issue. And there's a couple, I see that some actually do give you a chance to kind of try to snake around and get back. But and I can feel that if that's what they're going for, they need to do that for everybody if they're trying to change up how these things work. That's something in the mechanics that, it does need an answer to what the fuck, guys. Come on.
And also, I don't know if anybody else is having this problem, but sometimes the vanishing step it isn't triggering for me. Like, I guess I just haven't quite figured out how to break out of the combo whenever you're getting hit from behind.
Try not to get hit from behind.
I
I'll
tried
play for
not
that
to.
team. No. Like, honestly, I think the biggest issue for that, it comes down to the way it works is you have to do it the moment it hits. The problem with that is timing the actual, like, sight and reaction time. You gotta gauge that right. You need to know your actual reaction time. Is it actually simultaneously with the hit? And if it, like, I'm not speaking specifically to you at this one, just like so you know. Like, if someone's not like, my nephews are not going to be able to pull this like off at like the moment they see it. They need to know, okay, when this leg hits about this part, this is where I should be reaching for the trigger. You know, like you need like the timing in this one is a bit more precise than its predecessors. I think is really what it comes down to. Because like
No.
online, I've seen people like I get mad because they're better at it than me. It's cool. I still beat their ass. Like, I got real good about the turn around and block. I don't need to just vanish out the way. I figured out an alternative, damn it. Like, I would like to vanish at will, but it's not always in the cards. Because, like, you've done it a couple of times where you'll just vanish out of the way of my ultimate, and I'm like, you motherfucker.
My Kid Boo's dangerous, man.
I'm
I'm
actually,
not back to Warlock either.
like, actually, at this moment, I would say my top three, actually four. Technically five, but I'm saying four because two of them are really the same fucking person. Which would be Raleigh, Wiz, and Beerus. And like I said, I've grown fond of Super Saiyan Vegeta. Super. I, I, I likes the Stardust abilities.
Do you know the Z Gogeta is the one with the original Stardust Breaker?
Yeah,
They changed
but
they changed it with the Super Gogeta.
yeah, they did, but uh, I like to be the ability, the option of if I really need to go blue. Like you never know when shit's gonna hit the fan, and you need to be a blue-haired god. Show someone who's the real biggest swinging dick in the lobby is.
Yeah. Personally, in my opinion, I think for like ranked, there's a few characters that need to be just banned. We all know Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is a powerhouse. Like his stats are almost maxed out to begin with for the most part. And you take a blast from him and it's like more than half of your life. And then there's Reese
I'll object.
with the auto dodge and the with the right equipment spamming of your blast skills.
Actually, I'm kind of irked by Wiz's skill. Because he says take that and that and that and that, and it's only one
Yeah.
beam. Where are my other beams, guys? That, take that and that and that and that implies that there will be multiple. You only gave me one beam, motherfuckers. Give me more. You're looking at me like, no, motherfucker. One's more than enough for a blast. With your spamming ass.
Spamming ass is right.
Okay, I did that in response to you spamming like 3 back-to-back Kamehameha waves at me.
Well,
It's not my fault that I just have I had the energy to spam like 10 attacks back to back to back to back to back.
It's not my fault that you got 3 Kamehas back to back to back.
See, I concede that point, but like at the end of the day, tit for tat, you should not be mad that I just blasted you like you know me. I'm not just gonna get you back. I got to get you back and then some. That's how I operate. So 3 blasts, 10 blasts. I think that's kind of equal. A pretty fair way to go about it, I'm just saying. My personal thoughts. But now, actually, let's get into the real elephant in the room of my displeasure with this fucking game. You Scroogey motherfuckers, you. How the fuck are you gonna have all the whack ass characters from fucking GT, but you don't have the only, like, GT only had one redeeming quality. One. That was Super 17. The only good thing about fucking GT to begin with. I will die on that fucking hill, and you robbed me of this. I wanted to beat people with 17. You relegated me to find other people to enjoy my torture with. Because you remember back in the day, I would 1v5 people with fucking 17 and come out on top. Like, so...
Also, King Vegeta. We got robbed of the Royal Stomp.
Yeah. Like, and King Vegeta was kind of like a staple of unlocking through story in the games since day one. Like, you try to put that behind a paywall, some of us might riot. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. You try to put 17 behind a paywall, I'm gonna bitch a lot, but I'm gonna pay the fucking money. And that's part of the problem, is too many of us be willing to do that shit. I say as but I own it. Like, I'm part of the fucking problem, but I'm paying these motherfuckers what they should be being like, good sir, here is your Z warrior. Go out and slay, young king. Go out and slay.
Yeah, that's another thing that is an issue with video games nowadays. And it came from the mobile games, but it's locking everything behind paywalls or charging for every character that you add after the fact. You know, like, what happened to the good old days whenever it was already a part of the game, but you just had to unlock it through sheer effort and skill?
Actually, yes, exactly. And speaking of which, let's go into the characters that were available at launch. Like, what, half a dozen? Like, between Goku, Vegeta alone, there was a dozen of them at launch ready to play. Those are like
There's 26 character slots between Goku and Vegeta.
20 fucking 6 character slots between just the two of them.
Well, 25 if you don't include Grade 8 Vegeta.
And out of those, I think most, only ones that I don't think that were really available at Jump, like, you have to get the Super Saiyan 4s, and Ultra Instinct Goku isn't available until you unlock. But, like, I'll start, like, easily, of those 26, 12 of them were at launch. Like, each has, like, 2 rows of shit that you have to go through before you can even look at other characters.
Pretty much.
Y'all, like, if you wanted this to be balanced, I would have done a lot of the no-name character, like, because, like, a lot of these, like, Gohan, Vegeta, like, all of them had stories. So, you know what? They should have been unlocked through the fucking story.
Yeah.
Like, because at that point, they were just congesting my character list and not allowing me to get to the people I really wanted.
Yeah, that was another thing, is that, yeah, the roster is huge, which is great, but it's too many characters at launch. Like, more than half of these characters should have been locked behind story content or some type of content already in the game.
Yeah, like, that's pretty much what I'm saying, man. There's a lot of the, like, okay, like, pretty much, I would have unlocked a lot of the ones that you have to go into the shop for. I would have unlocked them. Those would have been unlocked, and I would have gone the route of all the Vegetas, all the Goku, like, all that bullshit. They were going to cover that shit in the stories. Like, that was never going to be in the question. We would have got to those people, and we could have unlocked it like that. The Janemba, like, I don't think we're getting into those stories. Janemba, Tapia, it's just kind of one of those, I think they could have done better. Like, they didn't think that out well enough. Also, the timer.
Yeah, you should be able to turn off the timer and offline at the very least. I understand it being online, you know, sometimes people are AFK or they just take forever, but in offline, there shouldn't be a damn timer because you know who you're playing with. Also, another thing that I had an issue with the Z Super Saiyan Goku and Super Saiyan 2 Goku. Super Saiyan Goku His ultimate is the instant Kamehameha, and his blast wave is a super Kamehameha. Okay, fine. Super Saiyan 2 Goku. Instant Kamehameha is a regular blast attack, but then why is his ultimate a super Kamehameha? Like, that makes no sense. Somebody messed up here. It should have been a different attack. Like, how are you going to give a stronger form an ultimate that a previous form used as a regular blast attack? You know, it makes no sense.
Well, because they're using it technically an ultimate, I guess is kind of their logic. It's like, well, yeah, he used it as a blast too, but like that's because it was weak with him using it. But with him using it, it's big swinging dick Kamehameha.
I mean, maybe, but still,
I'm not saying like I'm not sure either which way. I'm kind of with you because like some of the I feel like some of these moves are weird, especially since we've got into it. Some of these moves, like you got caught up on like a hand thing, but like my thing is like okay, you could a misstep on he doesn't use that hand versus this man has never done that move in his life.
There is a chance I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Gohan has never done a left-handed Kamehameha, and in this game, he is clearly doing a left-handed Kamehameha. I can't remember exactly which form of Gohan it was at the moment, but it bothers me because nobody's done a left-handed Kamehameha that I can
My thing
recall.
is they have Goku doing moves that Goku like they ripped off Vegeta's moves for Goku and thought I would have noticed.
Yeah, which Goku was it? No, it's Super Saiyan 2 Goku with the Meteor Crash. He does that blast at gut level.
Yeah, that Vegeta did in the Majin Buu saga.
Yeah.
Stop stealing from your people. You steal the glory. You steal the shine. You don't share nothing. What the fuck's wrong with you, Goku? Stop being a fucking asshole. You know how I feel about Goku. I don't know why you're giving me that look.
No, I'm just surprised that Goku never, he could have taught Gohan the instant transmission, or Vegeta could have learned it, and it's just funny
No.
That
would have required Goku to be a good father and be present.
Apparently, Vegeta still ends up learning the instant transmission.
Doesn't really surprise me. Like at that point, like I'm quite sure that like Wiz knows it. It just because it's not a skill in his shit. Like might not be something he likes to use, but he would know. He's knowledgeable enough to be able to teach somebody something without being able to do it himself.
Yeah,
there is that. So like, and Vegeta spends plenty of time over there, but he also spends plenty of time with his kids, unlike Goku.
Well, I mean, Vegeta may spend time with his kid, but I mean, he did bitch smack him before he took him to the amusement park.
But he took him to the amusement
because he got mad because he told Trunks to do something and he did it, and then Vegeta's like, "You bastard, pop." But then again,
it's a warrior family.
But apparently Goku knocked the crap out of Gohan in the Cell Saga. So
it's funny
Gohan's
too.
like, "I gotta go see Piccolo," and Goku's like, "Settle down."
Yeah, and like that is the deciding moment in one of the what ifs on. Do you go to help Goku or go and help Piccolo or not? Fucking A, though. That game's just so fucking great. I enjoy beating the snot out of people. And like now I've made it my personal mission to complete all these weird ass bonus missions because, well, I want to do shit for, like, I want the shit that it gives mostly. And I want, like, another thing that I want is, like, I want to beat all that shit just to say I did it. Like, I'm prioritizing that over the stories that I have finished. Or the parts of stories I haven't finished, because like I'm kind of confused about some of these stories. Fucking irritates me. Like there's clearly places I can go. Why can't I go there? Yeah, it'd be driving me nuts. What 50 minutes? Over 50 minutes before I gave it. But all in all, I think Sparking Zero has done rather well in capturing the essence. Like we've both been inspired into the grind, which was one of the things we were hoping that we would keep in there. Like that grind, that need to grind. It's not just like, oh, like I want to, like, okay, like I said, I want these bonus episodes. I want the W.
Yeah.
And some of them are fucking hard, or like some of them are just fucking stupid. They don't tell you how to be in it. You just kind of have to figure shit out on your own.
Right. And then if they want you to listen to the dialogue, and then the characters aren't even, you get caught up in the battle, and then the dialogue options aren't showing up on the screen because you can't hear the characters.
Well, like that one, like okay, like that one I get, but like the one that's irking me is like Beerus. Fuck. And it's like I realized none of the stuff was triggering instant death. I just didn't deal enough damage in that fucking 30-second window. Like ideally, the match shouldn't run longer than 2 minutes. Like your primary job is just to give Beerus the business as quickly as you fucking can. Like by any means necessary, which is pretty much going to be my slogan of the night after we're done here. Okay. All in all, like I love the game. I do enjoy the story. I do wish they would have done more of a cohesive linear story rather than giving all these weird chapters. Like I think they should have divided it heroes and villains, and then like bam, gotten the story for like from
that
the hero.
That would probably make character selection. It might make it easier to sift through at that point.
Well, no. I'm talking about for the story. Like you know how like each person have their own story. I would have rather them just do campaign heroes and do it from all the heroes' point of view through each of the arcs, and then villains from their point of views in each of the arcs, and any what ifs that might intertwine them with any other arcs. But I do believe it is time to move on to our final segment of the night because, well, we're already here at an hour. So I'm going to postpone the one segment that I dedicated 5 minutes to because I don't have my second screen and I can't see shit. I have to figure that out here in a bit. And so technology pisses me off.
There's bubbles.
I don't even remember where we left off at. I think we were just at like ending comments and stuff like that.
Yeah, like well, we can go from like into there. Like,
yeah, I think that's where we're at.
Actually, how did you like the cover art for that episode? Did you get to see that yet?
For which episode? Oh yeah, I liked it. I was kind of confused when I first seen it, but I liked it.
Like I can't like I tried to get like I forgot what what had inspired me for it, but I was like Jeffrey Dahmer. Like I wanted police, but like there was an actual scene of something that I had like a show like it's very similar to like the Spider-Man like this. It was one of those memes that had inspired it, but I couldn't word it right to get it exactly what I wanted. But like I got two good images out of it, and I used one for promotion and one for.
Yeah, it looked really
good. But I actually had fun generating that.
But yeah, so basically where we left off was the ending towards when he got arrested, and the way he got arrested was his last victim, Tracy, was able to get away, and he flagged down. He found two cops, I guess, patrolling. Got their attention, and they tried to get the handcuff off of him, and they were not able to, so they actually went back to Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment, and that is when they discovered the horror scene that was there. Honestly and truly, they said that if that had not have happened, he probably would not have been caught at that moment anyways.
No, he probably would have done for a while.
Yeah, he ultimately said in his, I don't want to call it an interrogation because he confessed, but during his confessions, they asked him why he did it, and his only answer was he didn't want to be, he didn't want to be left alone, and he wanted to be with them, which is ultimately what led him to cannibalize, which, I mean, having them with you forever that way, I guess, is a way to look at it.
Actually, one of the things that it always amazes me is you notice that very rarely is a serial killer ever actually caught by actual legitimate detective work. It's always usually some dumb stroke of luck.
Yeah. In reality, yeah.
Like, I love how we tell all the, like, it's like, oh, by the hard works of the, like, no, y'all got fucking lucky. Like,
Yeah,
y'all need
like
to step
y'all
up your game.
right. They got, that was a lucky, that was Tracy being at the right time, at the right time, at the right place at the right time.
Well, yeah.
And the cops being there because they, the cops were, one, because of his race, he was a black man, and two, because of being in the gay community, the cops didn't really, bat an eyelash at it, but because they couldn't get the handcuff off. That was the sole purpose and the sole reason of how Jeffrey Dahmer got caught.
So, note to aspiring killers or maniacs: get the same head. If you're gonna use handcuffs, use the same ones the cops do, so they don't come to your house after somebody gets away.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. Okay. The one thing I never really agreed with, like, I agree, a lot of serial killers are monsters. I don't consider Dahmer like. I can't. Like, the fact that, like, because this man, like, yes, he did horrible things, and he was very much aware, but he also knew that there was something wrong with him, and he wanted to know what. Like, so yes, he was a monster, but he really didn't necessarily want to be a monster, unlike many others that really do want to be that monster.
Right. I mean, he did say in his confessions that he did enjoy doing the killings. And it came out, in his confessions that the month leading up to his arrest, they said that in the month leading up to his arrest that he actually consumed either over or right at 10 pounds of human meat, which just was, to me, that blew my mind, because I don't understand how someone could consume human meat.
And yeah, because like without necessity, like in the absolute need, I can see doing it without gagging, but even then, I think I would choke it down. Like, yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it like with a smile on my face.
No, like, and he even made the comment that he would get, like, onions and peppers and seasonings and all this other kind, and basically make like a stew meat. And he said that his favorite parts were the bicep, the thigh, and the heart, because those had the most lean meat to them.
Had he not got murdered in jail, he might have released a Cannibal's Cookbook.
Yeah, because that would have went well over with the public.
Well, not like, okay, yeah, you would have those nuts that do go out there and actually try it, but like, like Charles Manson had groupies up till he died. You would have those people that were curious about how he prepared his meals. Like, he would be able to, like, and at that point in time, like, since they're generally, like, there's laws about them making money off of shit like that while they're incarcerated, that could have gone to it could have been provided to the victims' families,
right?
To put better protections in that community's gay community,
right?
Like, I say crazy shit, but guys, there's always there's a reason for it. There's always method to my madness. Like,
I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of like in the middle between, whether I think he's a monster, because I know that he did have problems, but it's one of those things where, yes, he knew he had problems, and yes, he continued to do it, but he never sought out. I don't know. It just.
Well, because at that point, what do you go tell hey, I need help, I like to kill and eat people?
No, I mean, okay, like, I know you don't just go to someone and you're like, hey, I have a thing for killing people and I want to try to eat them. Like, obviously you don't do that. But when he was arrested for the sexual assault, okay, they told him that he had to go to therapy. At that point, he knew there was something wrong with him. Why didn't he was basically being, this was part, he right then and there he could have, talked to this therapist, even though he was being forced to, because it was part of the program that he had to do. While he was doing this program, he was still killing people, and he knew it was wrong. So I can't really agree that he was a monster and that he wanted help. Like, he wanted help because he didn't reach out for help when he had the opportunity to.
Well, again, I go to, like, he was in that program. How do you tell your therapist that, like, there's no good outcome of, like, oh, we're going to help you. At that point in time, like, he was kind of done in at. He was killing, like, you have to...
If he had gotten the help then, it wouldn't have been 17 murders.
True. But, again, we also are looking at it through the lens of today. Like, today, like, back then, especially back then, mental health, like, still, like, mental health gets a lot of heat and stigma. Like, there's a lot of negative connotations with therapy and psychology. So, like, we're just now getting to where we're accepting that, you know what, maybe we should get these people help at the younger ages. Maybe we should, like, not necessarily, and, like, we're talking about the talking and the looking. And this way, you know what, early on, we can maybe start to lessen the, I don't want to just say serial killers, because, like, there's also mass, like, we have so much violence that I don't want to put on a weapon. I hate, like, when people put it on a weapon. Yes, a weapon was used, but everything is a tool. It doesn't make a choice of how it's used. That's up to the person holding it. And, for instance, like, Jeffrey Dahmer didn't use guns in his crimes at all.
No, like, he would drug them and then dice them up. Yeah,
like, but all these people have certain little early onset warning signs that you can, like, hey. And, like, at that point, I'm not saying lock all these people up, but you might want to keep a bit of an eye on them. Like, you know what? You need to, like, at this point in time, like, this is why I'm really big on, like, if nothing else, everybody should get free mental health.
I totally agree with that.
Like, this way, hey, you're not getting the medical care you need. Hey, you can bitch about it to your therapist, and, like, you can at least get that and keep your mind right about it.
That's what I don't understand, because the government, they send out not millions, but billions of dollars to other countries. Why are we not using this billions of dollars to help this country that we live in, and to help people who do have mental health problems, who need the help, and people who can't afford health care? Like me, myself, I have to go through Marketplace. A lot of places don't accept Marketplace insurance. If our country had better health care systems and they didn't look down upon people with mental illness, I wholeheartedly believe, I think that it would be the country would be a lot better off, because people are getting the help that they need instead of being looked down upon, and I think the crime level would go down.
Yeah, like, I agree. Well, honestly, like, the one thing that I think we might want to up that number to, like, trillions, actually. Like, we lately we've been giving out money like candy.
Yeah.
Like, but to that stand, like, my thing is, like, yes, we need to take care of things at home. There are certain of our allies that do need help at times, but damn, not all. Like, it should not be an annual budget to help anybody. Like, you need assistance. All right, we got you back for a period of time, but you're gonna have to be able to hold yourself after that.
Exactly.
Like, we can't
if people could just get their foot through the door and get started, and have more clinics that are readily available to give free mental health evaluations, to get them started on medication, to give them therapy. I mean, what's 1 hour to someone? The government's still going to pay you. What's 1 hour? That 1 hour that you give to someone could potentially save their life.
Or the lives of others around them.
Or prevent them from going out and, committing 17 murders and possibly eating them. Because clearly Jeffrey Dahmer had a mental disorder. His mom even had his, after he was murdered, she wanted them to specifically keep his brain so that they could study his brain to see if there was any abnormalities. And even after, I think they said they did like 6 or 7 months of research on his brain, they found no abnormalities. Like there wasn't any type of growth. Everything was normal. It was just his thought process from what they said.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I always thought that, there are some of the killers that, they're not going to be rehabilitated or anything like that.
Right.
Dahmer, I'm not saying we would have let him back out into the public, but putting him in a psychiatric hospital would have been very beneficial. It would have been he would have been more comfortable and safer, and the rest of the world would have been safer because we would have had a case study on serial killers.
Right.
How their minds work.
Right. That is very, very true. But what a lot of people don't know about the case of Jeffrey Dahmer is when he first went into prison, he was put into segregation. And he was by himself. And he knew that if he went into general population, that he would, more than likely, he would get killed. He knew that. And he specifically requested to be put in general population, even against his attorney's advice. And I think they said it was within a couple months of him going into general population, he was killed by someone who had a mental disorder. This guy got loose. Somebody wasn't watching him, and he ended up killing Jeffrey Dahmer and another man the same way. It was just ironic that the way he was killed was the way he killed his first victim. It was just a very weird, I don't know if that was intentionally planned or if that was just a really weird coincidence.
No, because if it was intentionally planned at that point in time, you would have to imagine that it was a setup to begin with, and someone was behind, at that point, it was a planned hit on Jeffrey Dahmer.
I personally think it was, because where were the guards watching? Nobody was supposed to be in there but Jeffrey Dahmer and the person he was working with. How did this inmate get past these guards? So you can't convince me that it wasn't an inside job.
I always kind of assume that it's an inside job, but I don't like to just throw it out there it's one of those libelous and slander, people want to be mad about stuff.
I mean, I personally think it was an inside job. I personally think that the workers, the prison guards, may have had something to do with it. That's just my personal opinion. That obviously was never proven, that whether it was intentional or not, even from the guy who committed the murder on Jeffrey Dahmer, it was never confirmed whether it was intentional or not, or whether it was planned or not.
Well, even without it being planned, from an institutional level, you can sit here and set it up with it to make it look like a complete accident, which it kind of does. It looks like an accident due to institutional failure. It's oh, well, yeah, so-and-so was supposed to be watching, but they're not.
Yeah. And that's honestly, and I'm speaking from, on point of view, because my cousin, he's incarcerated right now as well. So there is such a big problem with prisons now. It's to the point that prisons are overpopulated with individuals who are in there for petty ass crimes.
Well, that's because it's a crime to be poor.
Exactly.
Most of these people, aren't even in there for a real, like, a lot. There's the mistaken identity, the times that it's not necessarily a crime, or the times your rights are violated. They just can't afford a lawyer to get out of it.
Or you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and yet they don't care. I mean, but if the country, if they would put money towards the prison as a, to do a prison reform project, because ultimately you put these people behind bars, okay? They put Jeffrey Dahmer behind bars. What was their ultimate goal? I mean, he was never going to get out. He was charged with multiple life sentences. He was never going to see the light of day again. But what type of reform did they offer him, or do they offer any inmate to teach them, okay, you're going to be behind bars for 20 years. A lot of shit's going to change in 20 years. But how can we prepare you in here to be not a model citizen, but, a functioning citizen of society?
A member of society. Actually, that brings me to, like, I'm going to slightly change our topic a little bit. You watched that docu-series thing on Netflix, Lockdown, where the jail in Arkansas tries a new system where the inmates,
where they take away all the rules and they let them, they're free.
They build the community themselves. Like,
yeah,
I actually really enjoyed that. I like that concept. I think there are a couple things that I would change to that concept. There are some variables in there I'm not too happy with. Like, letting them make completely their own rules. I think there should be a couple of, like, because if you let it at that, there's going to be, oh, well, why should I listen to rules made by, like, so there should be like 2 or 3, like, of the really hard rules that everybody knows. Like, right. Okay, we don't do any of this. And then, but aside from that, all other internal disputes can be settled by a council, a gathering of the group, whatever. Right. Stuff like that, along with education or trade skills. Like, actually,
and that's my whole point, about Jeffrey Dahmer. They didn't even regardless. Regardless of the fact that he got killed in prison, if he hadn't have gotten killed and he did have a chance to get out, what type of, what do they offer to reform an inmate? They didn't offer him anything, so if he was to get out, who's to say that he wouldn't have, because if he had been offered the help, if he had have gotten out, would he still have committed the crimes again?
Well, for him to get the help he would have needed to be in an actual mental hospital.
Exactly.
And
that's why I don't agree with them sending him to prison. I don't agree with that. He should have been sent to
he probably would have also got stuff to reintegrate him with society.
Right.
But that would have been more plausible back in the day because we had way less private prisons. Now, It's bad for business to want them not to come back. You want them to fuck up and come back. That's why we have so many people in prison. Like, we don't, like, what irks, like, the biggest miscarriage of justice towards prisoners is? The ones that get taken out to work on fire, like as volunteer firefighters and shit. Or volunteer rescue people.
I didn't know they did that.
Places like where California with the wildfires, they do that a lot. There are a variety of places that have a lot of these work release programs in fields,
which is what Jeffrey Dahmer was in.
But in fields that they will never allow these people to work in. Like, these people can sit here and risk their life to fight fires while they're prisoners, but as soon as they get out, no, you can't. You've done time. You can't work for us. And that's like it's bullshit.
With Jeffrey Dahmer, when he was arrested for the sexual assault case, he was on a work release program, and I never knew that they did this. But the way his work release program is he got up every morning, he went to his job at the chocolate factory, and then at night he would return to the prison, and he would have to stay at the prison overnight. I never knew that they even did shit like that.
Yeah.
And even while he was doing this work release program, he was still committing these murders. So how are you going to try to convince me that, the work release program is effective? Because clearly it wasn't effective with him. That was an opportunity for him to be incarcerated and still go out and kill. For fuck's sake, he kept a man.
To be fair, they did not know he was a killer when they let him do this. Work release is generally for non-violent offenders in most cases. It's not meant for people that are guilty of assault or any sexual crimes whatsoever. Generally,
his was sexual assault on a minor. The child was 13 years old. 13 or 14 years old.
Okay, yeah, but this was the tail end of the 80s, 90s rock star lifestyle. It's not right, but it was it was within social norms back.
I guess so.
That's why I when we look at the past, we need to keep in mind things were there's a lot of things that were different from different times, the times that we live in now. Hell, the times have changed even as we've been growing up. 5 years ago, it was a completely different world, it seems like.
Right. Yeah, a lot. It's like I said, a lot changes in, 20 years. So. But.
It's one of those things that it always comes down to, it is what it is. We said, in today's society, would Jeffrey have become the cannibal that he was? I think it's less likely, but, the time that he was put into was not meant for him.
My closing thought on it is, me personally, I can't sit here and say that he's not a monster, because in my opinion, he is a monster because of the things he did. He knew what he was doing was wrong. He continued to do it. He didn't search for help. So in my eyes, he is a monster, but I think he tried to reach out for help a little too late. Clearly.
Well, here would be my caveat to that, though. If, we established, what help could they really have given him? If you want help, but there's no actual help that would, no matter what he did, unless it was before his very first victim, there was really no help. And he didn't really realize, what was going on, really, until after the first victim. He could have gone to somebody after the first victim and been like, look, this happened, but...
But backing up to when you made the comment that he's not your typical serial killer. He's not. Because between his first killing and his second killing, there was a 8.5, 9 year gap.
No, it was 9.
9 years?
It
was a 9-year gap between his first murder and the second one. Most serial killers don't go that long in between murders. But after he had that second murder, which the second one, in his words, was not planned. That one was a complete mistake, was not meant to happen. He didn't know, but after he got the thrill of it, that's when it all went downhill. So what was his thought process? During that 9 years, what was his thought process? He had already killed someone, and then now all of a sudden he accidentally kills a second person, and then he's like, "Oh my God, I really enjoy this."
Yeah, it goes into, my main thing about not saying that he's not a monster is, I try not to judge any, for all I know, that was how the universe planned out for him.
Right.
The universe needed him, the way the world needed to happen required him to do that, for all I know. I don't know.
Right.
Most importantly, it's what it sounds like when he describes killing after the second death is an addiction.
Yeah.
And if I were just to label him a monster just for being an addict, what would that say about all the other addicts out there? Yes, he was addicted to killing and not a drug, but it was an addiction. After that second one, that's what kept him from getting the help. He was hooked. He couldn't get help, even if he wanted to. He needed to be caught. And then he got caught, and they didn't help his ass. So, America!
So, I don't know. that's just my thoughts on it. But I mean, I don't know. I would love to hear other people's thoughts on it. You know, what they think about what he did, what they think about him. But me
Everybody's
personally, I
gonna
just
be
think.
like, Jin's an asshole. Of course he's a monster.
I mean, everybody has their own.
Yeah, like everybody has different thought. Like that's the beauty about America. We're allowed to have independent thoughts and not all have the same one. We should be able to have civil discussions about it. And honestly, that's what makes them fun. It's like, you know what? Maybe, there's a lot of times that when I hear something from a different perspective, I might not have thought of it, and it's a damn good point.
Right.
Like that's the only way we can change. Like we can help each other is by presenting different opinions a lot of the time. Like some people we all only get our information from different places. So you know what? I didn't hear about that. Tell me more.
Exactly.
Like rather than, oh no, that doesn't exist because I didn't hear about it.
Right. Well, those are my final thoughts, and I will see y'all next time.
Yes,
I've got to let my dog in, so that's why I'm saying that.
Okay, T, you with us? All right, brother. Suppose we'll be wrapping this up for the evening. Closing thoughts?
Not much more to add.
I have a wee bit. Soon we will be doing our open invitationals to the Mystic Jinn and T-Noble tournaments for Sparking Zero. For those of you on PS5. So I'm taking this moment to let y'all know I want all the smoke. I don't know about T. He's looking at me kind of funny right now. You want that smoke?
Bring that smoke.
We want that smoke. So come on, keep following. Drop comments if you want. Like if you're looking for people to play with, drop it in the comments. We'll find a way to communicate. I'll be dropping the link to the Discord soon this week. I'm working a couple of kinks out on the Patreon. Oh yeah, and now we're coming at you from like YouTube, Amazon, and Spotify. So be sure to give us a like and follow there. And comment your thoughts. If you have any disagreements with any things we've said about Diablo or Dragon Ball Z, or even Jeffrey Dahmer. You have disagreements, any agreement, tell us what you think, man. We ain't afraid. And it looks like T was bogarting the drink.
What?
I know, because I he asked for it like an hour ago. And
I gave it back to her, and then I asked for it again, and then I kept it.
I never saw a second pass back. I just assumed you've had it for the last hour.
But when he brought it to me, he said, "Here's your drink, babe." And then when he asked for some, babe, can I have some of your Coke? So it's mine. You even labeled it as mine.
Okay, what's your point?
Why are you bogarting my drink?
I wasn't bogarting anything.
Yes, you were.
Bogart these nuts things.
Well, yeah. So we have all these videos coming to you. Drop us a follow us and do whatever you need to do to get the notification when something drops. Because, like we said, it comes I don't have a set time on Wednesdays or Sundays. It just I just pick a time that feels good to me at the moment when after I'm done editing. Not even gonna lie to you guys. But until then, love, peace, and chicken grease.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Later.
I love how Bubbles just puts the piece in.